Hello, man, I'm Miguel. Ladies and gentlemen, fragrance enthusiasts, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to compare two fragrances that smell alike. Some people call one the clone of the other. Honestly, I don't know what to tell you guys, but the only thing I could say is that maybe inspired by, but not cloned by. I'm going to compare this fragrance right here, Tom Ford's Oud Wood, with Thameen's Carved Oud. Hopefully you guys can see that. If you can't, too bad. I told you what fragrances I'm comparing. So pay attention. Just like in class, take notes. Because if you're stuck between buying both, I'm going to tell you the truth on which one is best suited for you to purchase. So on my right hand, I'm going to spray Thameen's Carved Oud. And on my left hand, I'm going to spray Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Horrible. Thameen's Carved Oud. It's way better sprayer. Alright, so in the opening, they both have this sort of weird, strange, almost chocolate type smelling thing, but they become very different instantly because after that weird chemically chocolate-ish, dark chocolate specifically smelling note that I get from the alcohol and whatever woods they mixed, I can smell that on Oud Wood. There's some type of like sweeter wood. I believe it's rosewood. It's very similar to like Xerjoff's Alexandria 2 with that rosewood, very smooth. It's almost like pink berry smelling, woody, and it's amazing. But then when you go to Thameen's Carved Oud, it's like some type of like greenness. It's like some green dark chocolate. It's like almost like a minty dark chocolate. I think it's due to some type of green, I don't know what it's called, some type of green note that they have there. I know there's some cypress, definitely, but I'm not sure if the cypress is what I'm smelling. There might be some type of patchouli that's coming out too, but I don't know if it's in the top. But there's some type of dark chocolatey-ish note, especially in the top, in the opening. I smell a bit of the oud coming in too, but it's some type of animalic, woody type of green notes that I'm smelling in the top, which is very different from the top of Oud Wood. You can definitely tell that there's a big difference in terms of the potency. When it comes to the strength, Oud Wood is almost automatically a skin scent. I could tell from my own experiences wearing it, it will not last more than 6 hours. And if it does, it's literally like you have to be on your freaking skin to smell it. Max you can possibly get, I think, on your skin might be 8 hours with Oud Wood. Definitely spray it on your clothes. It's really similar to La Nuit de l'Homme in terms of performance and in terms of the wear. But I think even La Nuit de l'Homme might even outperform Oud Wood, to be honest. I'm not sure, but they're very like on the same level, I would say. But in comparison to Thameen's Carved Oud, this smells like it can give you a good 8 hours. It could even push more. I know that on clothing it stays for a long time. It's extrait de parfum as well. It has decent sillage. Projection is not the craziest, but the longevity is where it's at. I think it stays for a good amount of time, especially if you consider the fact that this DNA in general does not last that long. But this does do it justice to give you a good amount of longevity, especially for the price you're paying for both of these. So on the Tom Ford in the mid, that's when I'm starting to get more of that cardamom and vanilla. I can tell there's some cardamom, some vanilla, and the oud notes. It's not really oud. So you still get some type of woods. There might be some type of agar wood or whatever type of wood note they want to call to be oud. But in Oud Wood, there's barely any real noticeable oud smell. What you get in the mid though, you get that vanilla that's coming in and a bit of like some vetiver-ness, but I think mostly it's cardamom. But when you compare it to the mid of Thameen Carved Oud, it's when they start to become a bit more similar. They start to add in some of that pink berry inside. There's a bit of cedar that comes in as well, patchouli, and a bit of iris, and I think some oud. And that's what makes it very similar to Tom Ford's Oud Wood. In terms of similarity, I would give it 75 to 80%. And the most similar you'll ever get both of these to be is in that mid. because the pink berry I feel like really is good at mimicking rosewood. It brings in that like fruitiness, that type of sweet, rosy-ish fruitiness. And then when you mix it with oud, like a oud note, it gives a rosewood smell. But rosewood is very unique, but I can see it kind of mimics it in that way compared to Tom Ford's oud wood. But Thameem's carved oud brings in some more cardamom with the boost of patchouli as well. That makes it very chocolatey. And then you get some of that woodiness, a bit of like sophisticated earthiness from patchouli, a bit of iris too that makes it a little bit powdery, but it's very not present. It's like very minute in the background. Honestly, if you were to smell it on your hand, you probably wouldn't even smell it at all. And I can tell there's a bit of vanilla that's being brought into it to smoothen out the whole greenness that it came with in the beginning, in the opening. Very complex, but that's the mid is the most similar you'll ever get the two of them to be. However, I have to reiterate that this has some patchouli that makes it different compared to Tom Ford's oud wood, but also the greenness that you get from it. That's the main difference you will get from sniffing both of them side by side, or in general. Now the dry down. That's when on Tom Ford's oud wood, the dry down starts to become very vanillic, tonka beanish, and you get some Haitian vetiver, and that's kind of how it rounds up with a bit of amber. It becomes very smooth and light, but that's when you get that sweetness. But it's very well balanced with the woods. Honestly, to describe oud wood in the most simplest of way, you get rosewood, which is almost like a sweeter version of like just a woody smell, kind of like pinkberry and woods. And then you get just ISO E super. Like when you smelled Molecule 01 before in your life, you will know what wood smells like. And most of these oud fragrances that don't really utilize real strong oud, the ones that are not super medicinal but just very woody, European, Western-ish ouds, that's when you get a lot of just ISO E super smelling woods. Just pencil shaving smelling woods. That's kind of what you get here with the Tom Ford oud wood. However, with the mix of the vanilla, the cardamom, and the amber and the vetiver, it smooths it out so well that it kind of just smells a lot like woods, vanilla, and a bit of like pink pepper, or I should say rosewood, which it really is, and cardamom. And it gives a bit of that spiciness. It's very, very smooth, very comforting, masculine, even though I think honestly any woman or man could wear this, but it does not project a lot. It's very comforting. It's something you can say is really safe, as in it won't really bother people that much, and it's just very basic. It's not anything crazy. It doesn't go up and down, left and right. It's just boom, boom, boom. You know what you're getting, and it's very linear from top to bottom. When you compare it to Thameen's carved oud, in the dry down, that's when you start to get vanillas, musk, tonka bean. Also, the patchouli is here, but you get a lot of vetiver. The patchouli stays, and the cardamom also stays until the end. And when it starts to die down, that's when you get a lot of the oud. The oud is not just some weak oud, but it's almost like proper oud. That's like Middle Eastern, but not super medicinal. Because the animalistic aspects of it also comes from the green notes that were there in the beginning that become less and less present, but they're still there a little bit. And the patchouli smells green, but not completely dark chocolate type of patchouli. It has both of the facets to it with that cardamom. And this smells very luxurious, but also it's a very artistic fragrance. It's as if they took oud wood, made it more niche, and also more artistic. There's really a real chain in terms of the fragrance. It starts off one way, it becomes something else, and it ends off with something else. So there's a real progression to the fragrance. It's not that linear, but you also know kind of what to expect in a certain way. Like that cardamom is there, the patchouli is there. That's kind of what you will smell mostly in the air, with a bit of oud and a bit of musk, vanilla, tonka bean-ishness. The beginning, very green. Mid, it starts to get more smooth. Pink berry comes into play. Oud, cardamom. And then that base is when you start to get patchouli, vanilla, musk, tonka bean, amber. So it becomes more sweet and it balances out the oud greenness that you had in the top. The mid is the most similar you will get to Tom Ford's Oud Wood, but it is a different fragrance. It is not a clone. It's very inspired by, smells similar, but it's not a clone. Especially when you're smelling it in the air, the greenness and the oud is very potent in Thameen's carved oud, and it makes a big difference. You can tell it's not the same fragrance. Only from up close, especially when it's like mid to dry down, that's the most similar you'll get to it. And you can kind of see the similitudes, but the differences are more than the similitudes, in my opinion. They're not similar to the point where they're clones, but they're similar to the point where you can see the inspiration. And I think they took it to a different twist, as in they made it more artistic. Whilst for the Tom Ford, they just went and made it basic, good smelling fragrance. You know what you're getting from top to the end, and that's that. So you're gonna get your rosewood, you're gonna get that oud, you're gonna get the cardamom, vanilla, and then in the base you get your vetiver's, and then you get your amber and your tonka bean, and that's it. Very simple. And you get that from top to bottom. You can tell, very short. It's not super artistic, but it works. And that's what they tried to do here with Tom Ford's Oud Wood. That means carved oud. They just took that, spinned it around, and made it more artistic and more interesting. Now I'm at that point where it's just very woody smelling, and you get that vanilla tonka bean in the base from Tom Ford's Oud Wood. That means carved oud right now smelling more like, I smell some like vanilla, some patchouli, cardamom, and a bit of oud. That's the point I'm at right now. Which one do I prefer out of the two? It's kind of hard for me, honestly, because they smell similar, but I like things that perform. But the smell in general, alright, I have to be honest. I'm gonna give 8.5 to Tom Ford's Oud Wood and a solid 8 to Thameen's carved oud. And I'm gonna tell you why. The smell of Tom Ford's Oud Wood is easy to enjoy, and it's not really difficult, and it doesn't really get you to smell different things. Like, to put it simply, Tom Ford's Oud Wood works and it's versatile, it's easy to wear, and it just does its job. It smells good. It's not something that's challenging. Whilst Thameen's carved oud, it brings in these green notes that kind of throw me off. I've never been the biggest fan of green, foresty, animalistic notes, and that's what's throwing me off a bit with Thameen's carved oud. But when I get to that mid and the dry down, that's when it's just so excellent. It smells very niche. It smells very expensive and unique. I like that the vanillas are potent with the cardamom and the patchouli, but it's the green notes that I'm not the biggest fan of. But certain people will like that. So my final verdict: if you want something that's versatile, everybody's gonna love, easy to wear, then you go for Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Especially if you don't care about performance, go for Tom Ford's Oud Wood. You will get a woody fragrance with a bit of vanilla, the smooth sandalwood on both, by the way, and you're gonna enjoy that. It's gonna do you justice. Even though the performance is super ass, you might have to respray it 3 to 4 times a day, because you're gonna get 3, 4, 6 hours max. But it smells good. I can't lie, Tom Ford really be disappointing when it comes with the performance of their fragrances, but you get what you pay for. It smells really nice. Quality is there, even though honestly, I don't think it deserves the price tag that it has, because to me it just smells like I could recreate this using ISO E Super, a bit of vanilla, some pink berries, even add, I don't know, some tonka bean amberiness to it with a bit of cardamom, and I basically get the same fragrance, and it'll probably cost like $20 to make, honestly, not even. And when it comes to Thameen's carved oud, I can't recreate this. It's very special. From the top, green notes with the cypress, and then there's some cardamom, and then you get some type of patchouli, oud, pink berry. There's so many notes, and there's a real transition between them. So if you like green notes, if you like woody oud, not super medicinal but a bit animalistic, if you like patchouli, earthy, dark chocolate patchouli, and vanilla bases with cardamom, you will like Thameen's carved oud. I think if you like either or of these fragrances, or if you have Tom Ford's Oud Wood, you should get Thameen's Carved Oud, because it's like the next step from Tom Ford's Oud Wood. It's like a 2.0, like some people like to call it. I would agree with that. It's like a better reformulation, a more interesting formulation of Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Honestly, it's probably better to spend your money on a clone of Tom Ford's Oud Wood than to buy the real thing because of performance issues. Or you go for Thameen's Carved Oud, which has better performance, more artistic, more interesting, and it smells of higher quality, in my opinion. So that's my verdict. If you want something that's more niche, that's more interesting, that's gonna invigorate your senses, bring you to different areas of your olfactory experience, then you go for Thameen's Carved Oud. Especially if you want performance, Thameen's Carved Oud. If you want simple, wear every day, any season, don't care about longevity, just woody smelling and smooth, Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Would I purchase any of these? To be honest, I don't know. I'm not the biggest woody just smelling fragrances. Maybe I'll just go for Molecule 01 and call it a day. You get the most simple basic woods, and you can layer it with other things. And that's a tip for you guys. If you have Tom Ford's Oud Wood, invest in ISO E Super fragrances. Either get Molecule 01 or some type of, molecule fragrance oil, whatever, that's just Molecule 01, and layer that with your Tom Ford Oud Wood, and I'm pretty sure it will definitely help with the performance and longevity. However, these are similar, but when it comes to just perfumery, Thameen's Carved Oud surpasses the Tom Ford Oud Wood. When it comes to just plain smell, Tom Ford Oud Wood beats it, because at the end of the day, when it comes to smells, people just want something that smells good, not too complicated. That artistic, all of that, that's really for them fragrance connoisseurs, them fragrance enthusiasts. Thameen Carved Oud is for you. If you're just a basic, I just got into the game, Tom Ford Oud Wood would be the way for you. Most people will like Tom Ford's Oud Wood compared to Thameen's Carved Oud, but when it comes to value, honestly, Thameen's Carved Oud is more worth it, in my opinion. Anyways, I rambled on way too long about these two fragrances. Now you know everything you need to know about them. So if you enjoyed my video, press a like, comment down below, and definitely subscribe for more. Maybe I'll get a clone of Tom Ford Oud Wood and compare it to the real deal. Who knows? Stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, and have a great day, night, and or evening. Peace.